Hey guys, it's your girl K Divine coming back with another video. I kind of want to be a little bit transparent today. Um, my video I made last night, that I posted last night about people regretting how they treated you. It kind of lingered with me even hours after I had recorded it, hours after it was posted. I was up kind of late last night. I couldn't sleep because I kind of was crying and having some moments like I just had this overwhelming feeling of like intense sadness. And it's because I'm thinking about how I've been treated lately. And not just like most recently, but just in general for a really long time. Um as I said before, I'm neurodivergent. I'm autistic and I have ADHD. And if there are any other ADHDers out there, particularly ADHD black women, you understand the struggle it is in society, especially when you come into understanding of who you are and you're confident in yourself and you accept yourself. I mean, because on the one side of it, we have to deal with racism. I mean, and people can sit around and pretend like that's not an issue, but it is. There's a lot of internal racism that a lot of people refuse to deal with, and you know it because of the way that they treat you, the things that they say around you, or the weird energy you get around people. And then on top of that, being neurodivergent, so I'm already different that way. So people can sense that. And some people see it as me being an easy target for them to exploit me. And then some people take it as permission to be very cruel towards me. 222 on the timer. And I don't understand why in our society people feel the need to be so cruel. And it just kind of, I was sitting with it last night, and I cried a bit because I'm like, I'm tired of being mistreated by people when I haven't done anything to them. And it, and then God spoke to me and he said, you have to understand they treat you that way because they don't know themselves. People who are whole and confident, they don't go out of their way to be disrespectful to people. People who are stern and their understanding and who they are don't treat people that way. People who are open-minded and they want to be a part of communities don't treat people poorly. And what I'm also getting to is like it's a it's a defense mechanism because whatever feeling that I invoke in people, and you too, whoever's watching this, whatever feelings that we are invoking in these people when we are around them, they're too much for those people to handle. Those people have a hard time handling the issues that they deal with, and a lot of you are mirrors to people. Like, they see things in you, they see how you operate and how you live your life, and it makes them have to question themselves because there will be people who will feel like you don't belong in a space because they're there and they have this mindset about them like, oh well, I'm this and I have these things and I'm in this position and then they see you and they're just like, how is it that me and this person can both operate in this same space? And to be honest, those are those people's limiting beliefs. Like, I believe that every single place that you go, you belong in. whether people want you there or not, or whether you fit in. And that's another thing. People will be upset, especially with neurodivergent people. They will be mad when you don't try to fit in with them. They'll be mad when you don't grovel and, like, kiss their ass and just be like, "Oh, hey, how they that's what they want." Or for black women, this is something I've been going through for a minute now. Um a lot of people have this idea of this caricature that we're all supposed to be. The way that a lot of people see black, or the way that people want to see black women, it's not this is how they want us to be. They want us to be loud and ghetto and belligerent, and they want us to be like that. Like, and I'm not knocking any people in the music industry or anything, but I will say that it doesn't really help the way that a lot of our black female artists uh, are portrayed in media. And I'm, like I said, I like a lot of their music too, so it's like I'm not coming for them personally, but it really doesn't help. Like that over sexualized image, you know like, and that's what a lot of people like want to see us as. Like, it's either like we are promiscuous and um we're we're hypersexual. They want to see us, or older black women, they see them as like the mammy, the nanny type trope. It's like they see us as these stereotypical caricatures in society, and then when they come into contact with us and they find out that that's not really how we are, a lot of people are going to try to provoke you into behaving that way so that they can reinforce their thought process. And it's so backwards and ironic, because it's like, if you have to push somebody's buttons to try to invoke some sort of reaction out of them, then that's an illusion. And so I'm here to tell you, like, you have been gaslit all of your life, okay? Like, people, like, every time you gotten upset, you had every right to be upset. And this is something I know a lot of black women probably have dealt with in the workplace as well, where the same attitudes and reactions that you have are demonized, but when like a superior, like a white male superior, has the same type of reactions, he's deemed as passionate, and, oh, he just cares. And it's like, but when I'm upset and I raise my voice a little bit, it's like, oh, she's aggressive. And I've gotten that at my previous job. They tried to deem me as aggressive, and it was like I was just being honest, and I was being stern. And in turn, the way that the only way we're going to be able to combat that is by being silent. If you work a 9 to 5 job or whatever the case, like, if you're in these spaces and you work with people who want to see you that way, you got to go in there, you do your job, and you go home. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't hang out with those people. Don't tell those people your personal business, because a lot of them, the only reason why they're even talking to you is because they want to have something to talk about. You are the topic of their conversation. They find you so interesting. I need you to understand that they find your life so interesting. You have no idea how many people are actually sitting back talking about you. And people who you haven't even talked to or seen in months, years, are still, they be on your social media. They be sending people to, find you and things of that nature. Like, some of these people gonna go broke trying to tap into your life, because they want to know what you're doing. And I tried to explain this to someone at my previous job. Like, they want our rhythm and not our blues. They want to do stuff just like us. They want to have the same level of care and attention that we have, but they don't want to have to go through the struggle that we have to endure in order to be that. And I was just listening to another content creator talking about black women, and it's we have always been caregivers and the help all throughout history. And That's how a lot of people see us. Like, and that's why sometimes you'll enter into certain spaces and people feel like you shouldn't be there because the way that they view you is as you're supposed to be the help. You're not supposed to be the business owner. You're not supposed to be the person with money. You're not supposed to, like, how is this person here? Like, and it's like they feel like you, how is it that this person has made it this far? And it's like that's, and honestly, like, it's 2025. We already know, like, anything is possible. Yes, it is, it's still hard for a lot of us. A lot of us still have to jump through a lot more hoops than other people have to, but it's still very possible. It's still very possible for you to make very good money. It's very possible for you to be a successful business owner if you know what you're doing and you have a vision. Like, it's very possible. Like, you can do it. You're capable of doing anything that you really want to do. And a lot of people don't want to believe that because they aren't living in their potential. So I just, I just want y'all to know, like, it's not it's not you. It's not your fault that people are mistreating you. And it is heavy. It's so heavy. I I'm struggling with it a little bit more now because it's like it's been a lot lately. It's been a lot of attacks coming my way for no reason. And like I said, it's people who want to reinforce the way that they feel by trying to provoke some, and it's not even just that they're trying to provoke something out of me. It's the fact that these people are, they're evil, like they're mean spirited, like these are bullies. And they have a hard time, dealing with their own emotions. And so what do those people do? They project. And it sucks in certain situations because when people have a certain level of power in whatever position that they hold, a lot of people will abuse their power so that they can torment people or cause issues for other people that will provoke or invoke a reaction out of you. I'm gonna bring up my mechanic situation again. Like, those people knew because I dropped my car off the first day. I dropped it off because I was exhausted. I had been traveling and it was like I hadn't slept well the night before. So I was like, I'm going to drop it off, and I'll be back later to come get it. And they thought that it was okay to play with me by not actually working on my vehicle. But they were in for a rude awakening yesterday when I walked in there at 8 o'clock in the morning and said, I don't believe that there was any work done on my car because something's still not right, and it's still not running properly, and I want to see the serial numbers on the parts that y'all put on my vehicle. Like, can you lift it up for me and show me the serial numbers? Like, I want to see these new parts that you claim that you put on my vehicle. They didn't show me the serial numbers, but they fixed my car, and they said they were doing it for free. They said they was doing it for free, but it wasn't free. It wasn't free. They they did what I paid for the day before. And they didn't want to take accountability for their actions. They wanted me to be at fault. They wanted to be able to flip it back on me and be like, oh well, we're just not going to help you because you're so rude. That's what their goal was. They were hoping that I would be upset to the point where I was going to be loud and belligerent and cussing them out and things of that nature. Like, because they even faked a phone call to the parts, to the supplier for their parts. They're like, oh well, they said that the part that we need, it's gonna take an hour and a half to get here. And I was like, that's fine. I don't mind waiting. And it didn't take an hour and a half for no part to get there. It took them an hour and a half to do that work that they claimed that they did the day before. They lucky I don't expose who they are on my platform, and I should. But I'm gonna let God handle that, because whatever, because like I know that I'm not the first person that they've done that to. I know they're that's a daily practice for them. Whatever it is that they're doing, multiple people have been paying a lot of money. And I'll be honest, in that situation, they were under the impression that I didn't have the money. They thought I didn't have the cash up on hand to pay for those repairs, but I did. They were assuming that I was going to finance it, or they were hoping that I was going to apply for financing, because then technically they didn't take any payment for me. And then it technically would, well, it still would have been dishonest, but it may have not been considered theft. But because they took my money and it's on the receipt, it's the debit, like it says debit on my receipt, like this was not a credit transaction. This came straight out of my account. Because they took my money and they did not do the work that they claimed that they did, that they have a whole receipt and they have all these timestamps and all this other shit. Because they did that, like that is theft. Like I was in my right mind yesterday. I would like, if things would have went left, I would have absolutely called the police and made a whole scene about that, because it's like you can't do people like that. And it's like y'all do, and it's clear that they do people like that often, because they thought that they thought I was one of those ones. They thought I was an easy target, and it's like you picked the right one. They were embarrassed. They wanted to try to get me to be upset so that they didn't have to fix it. They are real quiet. I'm sure that some of them are thinking about, they're gonna be thinking about that for a while and what they did, and I hope they think twice about doing that to anybody else. Because again, like the way that people have treated me for no reason is just, it needs to be studied. They're bullies, and they use their positions of power to abuse people. And especially with that mechanic situation that I had, the thing that kept coming up for me the most is like, people come here because they need work done on their cars. And it's like, that is your job, to work on people's vehicles. And you're choosing not to do the work, exploiting people for their money and causing further issues for people. Like, if that brings you joy, there is something very wrong here. And the thing that really made me upset more than anything was that there were multiple mechanics in that shop that day, and not a single one of them stood up and said that no, this is wrong, like we shouldn't be doing this to people, like just fix, let's just fix the car, or I'll fix the car, I'll do it. Nobody did that. They all got together and they all thought it was funny. And I'm sure deep down inside somebody felt like this is wrong, but a lot of people be too afraid to be honest and not go against what the group is doing. That's the difference between us and those people. They not like us. They not like us. Those people would rather sit in silence and allow people to be abusive than stand up for what is right. They would much rather just, stay hidden and stay quiet while other people go and be abusive. And if you're one of those people, you really need to think about your morals and your values, because I promise you, over time, like I will say this in every video if I have to, actions have consequences. They may not come right away, because that's really what it is. A lot of people do these things because they got away with it so many times. They did it once and they got away with it, so they did it again and they got away with it, and then they started doing it more and more and more and more and more, and it's funny to them. They're like, I'm gonna keep getting away with this. But there's always gonna be a point in time, there's going to be a point in time when you are not going to be able to get away with it anymore. When you don't have good intentions for people, when you are rude, when you are belligerent, when you are sneaky, when you're a snake and you're trying to harm people, whether that, abuse them financially, abuse them physically, emotionally, spiritually, if that is what you're doing to people intentionally, you will eventually reap what you sow. Some of those people, it may come in an unexpected way, because karma, I will always say this, karma never misses an address. People will be so terrible for most of their lives and may have gotten away with it, and then one day something bad happens, and then they'll have a string of bad luck for the rest of their life. Nothing ever will go right. And it's like, it's not that you have bad luck, it's you racked up a whole bunch of karmic debt. That's why I said yesterday, God is placing some of you in places to see how those people are going to treat you, because you are some of these people's final test. Because you have a pure heart, because you have good intentions, you are some people's final test before God's wrath comes down on those people. And people are going to feel it before things actually start to happen to them. They're going to know, like, oh no, I think my actions are catching up with me, because God was trying to allow these people the opportunity to change. God was trying to allow them the opportunity to think differently about how they treat people. And he specifically chose you to go into this space, into this person's life, into that business, or whatever the case may be, to work closely with that friend, to be next to that family member. God has specifically placed you in these places to see how these people are going to treat you. And a lot of people failed their test. A lot of people failed miserably. They failed miserably. And because they failed miserably, the karma that they have racked up is going to be a lot. And many of them aren't going to be able to handle it. Like, a lot of people they're going to suffer for a long time. Like, if there are people who were plotting against you and they wanted you in poverty, they're going to be in poverty. If people were sending you like the evil eye and sending you death spells and death magic and wanted you to die, if they wish death upon you, if they don't themselves pass away in some strange, odd way, someone close to them is going to pass away. And I said this the other day, that I had that happen to me. I had some situations at my previous job. I knew that some of those people really, really, really disliked me. And I could tell that behind closed doors, some of them really wished death upon me. I almost died in childbirth. I had a C-section with my daughter. I didn't want the C-section, but it was necessary. Um, and what they said was that my uterus would not contract back down. And because my uterus wouldn't contract back down, I ended up almost bleeding out. And I felt myself dying. Like, I felt my body going cold. I'll get into that at a different time. My near death experience is what caused my awakening in many different ways. It was a slow thing, but it my near death experience triggered my awakening. Um, but it's like, I knew that some people, and some of those people, when they found out that I almost died, some people I know were disappointed, because some people really, really just dislike me that much that they would much rather see me not around. And it's sad to say that, because people don't really want to believe that there are people out here that would really rather see you 6 feet under. But that's just the truth. They may not say it to your face, but there are people who really don't like you to the point where they would much rather see you in jail, dead, or in some mental ward, on the streets, in poverty. I had a lot of people trying to cause poverty in my life. A lot of people worked very hard to cause poverty over me. And I got a lot of people upset at me right now, because like that video I made the other day, you are not suffering the way that they wanted you to. There were people who wanted me out on the street. and they're mad that I was able to come up with some sort of plan so that I didn't have that happen. And it was only by the grace of God that that actually happened, because I mean otherwise I probably would have been out on the streets the way that people have attacked me and come for me. And I mean, I hope my story, and my experiences resonate with some people, because, I've been through a lot. I've been going through a lot for a long time. And I'm trying to come to terms with a lot of the stuff. Like it's not easy when you have to really sit back and sit in that truth and be like, there are people who are literally trying to destroy me. There are people who are trying to make me like give up on myself, on life. Like they don't want me to properly take care of my kid. Like they want me to have my kid taken away from me. They want me to be broke and jobless and unhappy and ugly. Like some people been sending you death magic and ugly spells. That's why people, you could tell the people, trust me, you can tell the people who wish that you would stop being attractive. And this male and female, that doesn't matter, that's interchangeable. There are people who hate that you're attractive. They hate that you are conventionally beautiful or handsome. They don't like that. And they'll gossip is word spells. Just, and when people speak negatively, those are curses. Life and death is within the power of the tongue. What you speak into the universe, like people will send that your way. You have to learn how to alchemize that and return to sender. When I learned how to alchemize and learned how to return things to sender, I started seeing a lot of different stuff happen to people. Like people who I could tell were trying to, that wanted me to be ugly and wanted me to like, gain more weight back after I had my baby, they started to gain weight. They started looking different in the face. Like they wasn't getting enough sleep. They started looking like like they had a fight and they lost type of deal. So it's like you could tell, you really can. Like you have to really pay attention to the people around you and be aware. Like I'm not saying that you have to be rude to those people, but you don't have to be nice to people who are blatantly disrespecting you. You don't owe them any kindness. You can be cordial and keep it pushing, but you don't owe those people kindness. You don't owe people who disrespect you, they don't deserve anything else from you. They don't. They mistreat you, and like I said, these people are hoping that they can invoke some sort of reaction out of you so that they can reinforce the way that they already feel. And you have to understand that those are their limiting beliefs. They don't want to see you the way that you truly are, because if they do, that means that they have to treat you better. And they don't want to have to treat you better because they benefit from mistreating you. They feel powerful mistreating you. And that's a sad existence. People who feel powerful by having to lower you, like they have to bring you down beneath them in order for them to feel better, because they can't do that on their own. They can't just be whole within themselves and say, I'm at peace with who I am. They're not at peace with who they are. That's why you have people lash out at you for no reason, that have never talked to you. They don't even know who you are. They'll just be insulting for no reason. You're just like, dang, I just turned the corner. And that's the way you feel. But misery loves company. A lot of people will do that because they want to have an attitude with you, because like I said before, they want to flip it and gaslight you and make it seem like it's your problem. They want you to give them the same energy back, because if you give them that same energy, that they it gives them permission to be more disrespectful to you. And stop giving people permission. When you go silent and you don't respond, like that's got to be a boundary for you, that you don't respond to disrespect like that. And you really shouldn't. If you love yourself, you and especially as you mature, that emotional intelligence has to kick in, because when you're emotionally intelligent, you will be able to decipher, like, this person is insecure and I didn't do anything to them, they're projecting onto me. There's no reason to respond to people who are projecting. because when you don't respond, they had to sit with that, and they have to sit with what they said, and they'll be embarrassed. Like, you'll see people's faces, like they all make the same face. I promise you, because I've seen it far too many times. Every single person that I was close to or that has disrespected me in some sort of way, and when they were trying to invoke some sort of reaction out of me and they did not get the response that they wanted, they all make the same face. And if you're paying close enough attention, you will see it. And I'm going to show you what they do. So, say, I'll use this example. My former best friend slash friends with benefits. We used to work together as well, and he was plotting with some people behind my back. And I was sitting at my desk and I was writing in my journal, which I at this point I was doing every day, just to keep myself together. And I write in cursive because that's just how I write. I plan on teaching my daughter cursive because they don't teach them how to do that in schools no more. And I just think it's important for people to have signatures and to learn how to write in cursive. But that's neither here nor there. But I mean, I've been told that I have pretty handwriting, which I think my handwriting looks like chicken scratch sometimes, but I appreciate when people tell me I have pretty handwriting. So he comes up behind me. He doesn't say hello. He doesn't say, hey, what's going on? He doesn't say any of that. He stands behind me and he's quiet for a few seconds and he says, oh, I have pretty handwriting. And I'm like, are we, in my mind, I'm like, are we 12? And at this point, I had already clocked it that he was an enemy and that he was working with people behind my back to try to sabotage me. And so I didn't even look at him. I just like put my pen down and closed my book, and I was like, "Yep, gotta teach the new generation." And he was like, they don't teach that in school anymore. And I was like, yeah, I don't believe in perpetuating stupid cycles like that. Like, I don't care that they don't teach that in school. I'm gonna teach my daughter. And I was like, what's up? And out of my peripheral vision, I can see him go, they all do it. When I called my mama out, which I'll get into that, I'll get into my the reason why I don't have a relationship with my mother. I'm gonna get into that soon. That definitely needs to be talked about. And that's also gonna tie into why I left Christianity as well. But when my mom confronted me almost a year ago. She pulled up to my apartment uninvited, didn't call or nothing to tell me she was coming. She just pulled up, and I had stopped talking to her because every time I spoke to her, she just she does not want to have a real relationship with me. She will not accept me for who I am, and she talks negatively about me to every single person who will listen. For all of the stuff that's been going on in my life right now, I blame her for the slander that I've been going through. It started with her. Um, I don't have physical evidence, but I don't feel like I need physical evidence to know that my mom and my family have gone out of their way to try to tell people that I am some terrible person. They, have called people, have whispered things in people's ears behind my back, trying to portray me as this terrible person. And that has given people permission to mistreating me. And it's like they wanted to ruin my life. And I'm not sure exactly what the reason is why. I have an idea of why, but they have gone out of their way. And it's like I've come into the understanding of this, and so I just stopped speaking to her because I'm like, I just don't have nothing else to say. Like, you don't like me, you will not respect me, and I refuse to raise my daughter in this environment because my daughter doesn't need to be around people who are going to be mean to her. Like, she doesn't need to be around family members that aren't going to be able to love her properly. I want my daughter to grow up with love, not with the fear of disappointing her grandmother because she didn't do something correctly or whatever. Like, I don't want her growing up like that. I want her to feel loved because of who she is. And it's like, if my mom can't accept me, what makes me think that she's going to accept my daughter? But my mom, she pulled up on me one day after work, and I was outside, and I had a little pre-roll, and I was just trying to take a couple hits because it was stressful at work, and I was tired and I just needed to calm down a little bit. And I saw her car pulling up, so I went and put my stuff down in the house, and I came back outside. I'm like, "What, why are you here?" And she's like, "Why won't you talk to me?" And I'm like, "Why won't I talk to you?" Like, do you remember what you said to me? And like, she tried to gaslight me. Like, I was going through all of this stuff. Like, I was like, "I'm never speaking to these people." I'm like, "What do you say about me behind my back?" And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't say anything about you." I'm like, "How is it that people that I grew up with know things and conversations that I've had with my sister in private? You know about it now somehow. The people who I grew up with know about some of the things that are going on in my life." When I had one of my former friends, she had me in her wedding a few years ago, and something fell off during that time, and I could not put my finger on it. But I was just, I was naive, and just, I was just happy because I was happy that she was getting married. She married her childhood sweetheart, and I just thought that was so cute because I grew up with both of them, and I just thought it was so beautiful that they were getting married, and I was happy for them. But I was getting a lot of weird energy and side eyes and stuff, and I from her and her family, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And it's because my mama been talking hella shit about me for a lot of years. And it's like, you think that I haven't caught on to that. And it's like, and I'm trying to change, and then it's like I became a mother, and it's like she just could not. I Me and my ex, we were still together at the time, but we never were married or anything. And she just felt the need to reinforce it, and like I didn't know, like, "Well, you're still a single mom," like trying to make me feel bad about that. It's like, I understand that. I am not ashamed about being a single mother. My goal was never to be a single mom. I wanted to be married. I tried to build a family with that man, but he didn't want that. And now I got to deal with the consequences of that situation, which is my daughter, and I'm okay with that. I am totally comfortable with knowing that I didn't get it right. I didn't. I didn't get that right. But I have a beautiful blessing. My daughter is so awesome. She is so funny and charismatic, and she's only 2 years old, and she's so smart. So it's like, regardless of how anybody feels, they want to shame me for being a single mother. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't feel ashamed because my relationship didn't work out. There are a ton of people right now who are in relationships that they don't even like each other. They roommates. Just so you could say that you got a husband, just so you could say you got a wife, and y'all don't even like each other. I'd rather just be a single mom and just take care of my baby and let her know, like, I allowed a man to disrespect me, your father, and I'm not gonna let that happen again. But either way, my mom did the same thing. Like, when I told her, like, "I've always been too much for you and not enough all at the same time," and she tried to gaslight me. She's like, "Oh, you've never been too much." And I was like, "Mom, you literally said that to me. You said that to my face." And she made the same face. She did the, I promise you, somebody put it in the comments. Tell me that y'all have seen people do this, because it's so subtle. It's so subtle and it's so quick. You can tell a lot about people's reactions to you and what their true motives were with the words that they say. You got to understand, language is primitive. Language is so primitive. People will say things to try to paint a picture for you of what the way that they want you to go, but there's always hidden intentions. You gotta listen a lot closer to the way, like to the tone in people's voice, to the way that people say things. When stuff isn't adding up, when it's not adding up, you need to clock it. And that's why a lot of people get played out here. This is why a lot of people are getting involved in situations with people and they believe liars. Like, what people will come to them with this sob story and play the victim, and people believe them because these people are able to convey these emotional responses out of them. And that's why people keep getting played. That's why that my message yesterday is still relevant. It's always going to be relevant when I said that people are going to regret the way that they treated you, because the people who lied on you are being exposed right now. And it's not because you did anything, it's not because you said anything, it's because you outlasted their lies. You outlasted the slander. You outlasted the smear campaign. You're still alive and you're still standing. And people are asking, and whatever the problem was that they were scapegoating you for, saying that, well, this issue happened because of this person over here and everything was on you. Whatever that issue is still present, and you're nowhere to be found. They can't even blame it on you anymore. And so now people are asking questions like, well, you said that the reason why this was happening was because X, Y, and Z, and that person over there was doing X, Y, and Z. And so, but that person's gone now. So why is this still happening? And they don't have a story anymore. They might try to find another scapegoat, but people are just going to start seeing the patterns. Because that's usually what happens. You're the scapegoat, and then the scapegoat leaves. And then the problem is still there. They may find another scapegoat for a small amount of time, but then people are, but over time, eventually, people are going to be like, okay, this problem, it's always someone else's problem. Like, you're never at fault for this, but somehow the same issue keeps coming up again and again. It's like people are going to see them as the problem. And that's when people realize, like, they should have treated you better. You are on the minds of a lot of people. And I know it's so heavy the way that people are mistreating you. I know that it's not fun. And like I said, like, I cried last night. I like cried myself to sleep because I was just like, man, God, this is just I'm so tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people being weird. Like, I'd rather people just leave me the hell alone. But some people just can't do that because, like I said, misery loves company. Those people are miserable. Those people who attack you, those people who have negative things to say about you, those people are miserable on the inside. And don't get it confused or twisted. Just because people have nice cars and they have jewelry and they have a nice pretty house, with the perfect manicured lawn and all that, that's not a depiction of happiness. A lot of people hide behind their material items to make it appear as if they are living the life of their dreams, but really, you can't. When you strip all that stuff away from those people, they don't have a personality. Some people's whole personality is their possessions, like their ability to get those things. Like, and I promise you, people who are out here spending a whole bunch of money on things that they can't afford, for real, those people are not happy. They're trying to fill a void. Those people are looking for attention. They don't have real peace. I wrote that. I had a prophetic download a little bit, like, I think a little bit over a year ago, that said, can't even think of it, because I said it to my therapist at the time. It was something about material items, like it, like you like obtaining material items is never gonna bring you true peace. Like, if your goal, like, or you, because, oh yeah, like the more people try to obtain like material items, like just to try to feel whole, like, they'll never know real peace, because there are people right now who have nice things, but they're already thinking about what the next nice thing they're going to get. Like they're not even satisfied with what they just got. My sister is like that. Like she has always liked nice cars, and there's nothing wrong with liking nice cars, but she is never satisfied with the car that she has. Like she had a beautiful orange Jeep Renegade, and she only had it for a year, and then she was talking about getting a BMW, and she's like, well, it's only $40,000, and she only made $50,000 a year, and I'm like, you can't afford that car. And she's just like, well, it's only 200 and something dollars a month. And I'm like, that, like, your Jeep is fine. Like, keep your Jeep. Like, there's no need to have another note and then the insurance on it. Like, and the car was a beautiful car, but it's like, you're not even satisfied with what you have. You're not even happy with what you have. Be happy with what you do have. A lot of y'all, a lot of y'all be chasing like high end stuff. Well, a lot of these people be out here chasing, high priced items because it makes them feel important. And they when they come into contact with you, they don't like you because most likely you're not a flashy person. You don't need a whole bunch of jewelry and a whole bunch of designer clothes and things like that. You're comfortable with just being cool, and they don't understand how you're okay with not looking like you need a whole bunch of money. And I said this back in high school and I was called stupid for it, but it's actually working out for me right now. I would rather have money than look like I have money. Because right now, just like with that mechanic situation, them people thought because of the way that I looked that I didn't have the money. They thought I couldn't afford to do that. The same thing with some of the places that I have been lately. Some of them people think somehow that I can't afford to be in these spaces, and it's like I paid my money just like everybody else, and I got whatever I paid for this. I got it times two right now in my account. But I don't walk around with a whole bunch of flashy stuff. I have my car is 8 years old. I didn't go out and buy the newest, nicest model of anything. I have a 2017 Jeep Compass, and I absolutely love it because I don't need a fancy car. I don't need all that shit. I don't need that. I'm satisfied with having decent things. Not that I don't want nicer things. I do. But I just feel like it's certain levels to certain things. Like if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. If you have, that's the other thing. Like I'm coming to the understanding, like if you can't afford it, you shouldn't be putting nothing on credit. Like we got to get away from these credit cards and financing and all this other stuff. If you can't afford it, you got to get away from that. You got to get away from it. Because it's just gonna keep us stuck and in debt. This message is going all left. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm just gonna call this a rant because it's like I'm kind of all over the place with this one. This one don't have like a whole, like a real title to it. Just like, but yeah, people will disrespect you because of the way that they view you. People will look at you a certain way because of how like how you look. Like I said, like you may not be a flashy person. Like right now, like usually I will have my nails done and my my locks would be, but I've been going through a lot and I had to prioritize some other things. And not that I don't want to go and get those things done, but like I said, I had some priorities that I had to take care of, and that was not the first thing that I felt like doing. Like of course I've been thinking about it. Of course. I absolutely would love to go and pamper myself and get all that stuff done, but it's like I got to take care of some other things right now. And it's like people think that when you don't when you don't look like a certain way that there's no way that you got the money, and it's just like, oh, I have the money. I'm just trying to be smart about it right now. So I'm glad sometimes that I look broke and I look like I don't have it, because then people, when they see how they mistreated you, they really gotta look at that and be like, oh wow. Like everybody isn't out here chasing material items. Like people need to stop watching so much reality TV. I know a lot of those people look rich and stuff, but a lot of them people really not that, they really don't have that much money. Them people living paycheck to paycheck too. Honestly, like they may have a higher standard of living because they're a reality personality, but it's like you don't really understand how like a lot of that stuff works. There are plenty of people that are in Hollywood, that are in movies, that are on TV shows and all of that, and they don't have a lot of money, or that they've never really made a lot of money over time. It's all an illusion. They may make more money than you, but compared to the lifestyle that those people are trying to live, like, compared to some people in Hollywood who are making millions and millions of dollars, there are a lot of actors that you have seen that you really love, and their net worth is no more than like $500,000. That's half a mil. Or they only got a couple $1 million, and honestly, that's really not that much money. Their net worth is only a couple of $1 million. That's really not that much money when you really look at it. If your net worth is like $3 million, to someone who's never had that, that seems like a lot of money. But to the people who are in those spaces, the people who actually really have wealth in this country, that's really nothing. Because 3 million can go like that, honestly. So for some of those people, they're like some of the people that they talk to, their homes are they have one vacation home that's $3 million, and it's like that's their whole net worth. So it's like you got to understand there's levels to this, and just because you make a little bit more money than somebody over here, there is somebody who makes a lot more money than you. People will mistreat you because they think they know you by what you look like. I'm sorry, y'all. This kind of went all over the place, but I just felt like I needed to get this out because like the way that people have been treating me is the way that people the it needs to be studied. Like people really need to start really being like a lot more self aware because the way that people are acting these days, it's kind of sad and scary because it's like especially after the election, like I noticed like a lot of people, like a lot of the Trump supporters, like they wanted people to be up in arms, and some of them still want us to be up in arms about it, like, yeah, my president is in office, and I'm like, great. I don't care that Donald Trump is president. That's the way our voting system works. Like, that's he's our president. Okay, I'm not arguing with you about that. And it's like you want me to feel some type of way about it because of his agenda, and it's just like it doesn't really matter. Everybody getting their ass whooped in this administration. All those federal workers that voted for him and now had the audacity to be on social media crying about I lost my job. He said, like, I don't know if y'all didn't read Project 2025 before the election. I don't know what y'all thought was going to happen. He told us exactly what he was going to do, and he's doing it. So I mean, I don't see what the issue is here. I'm not. And I know that a lot of people are afraid, and I understand why, because it's like we don't quite know exactly what's going to happen, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's all I can tell you. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And there's just a lot of people who are harboring a lot of hate in their hearts, and they want to project it onto other people because they want to believe so badly like that they're about to come up. And it's like a lot of people aren't about to come up. Like some of these people really believe that they I don't I'm not sure. I think people thought that there was gonna be a separation of like the races or something, and that like black people was gonna go back to the fields or whatever. But it's like, no, it's not gonna be like that. It's the rich versus the poor. It's the rich versus the poor. That's just the facts. If you are poor, you're gonna struggle. I don't care what you look like. If you don't make a certain amount of money, you're going to struggle. Because as you can see, all those federal workers that got fired, those people, a lot of those people was making decent money, and those people, some of those people still don't have jobs right now. So a lot of people are struggling, and that's why I'm like, y'all just have to try to be steadfast and diligent and not responding to people's nonsense, because a lot of people are harboring a lot of hate and a lot of animosity because they got a lot of fucked up shit going on in their life, and they need a punching bag and they feel like you're an easy target. Don't be people's target. You got to walk away from some of these situations. Hopefully you don't have to cuss nobody out, cuz that's never fun. But let me wrap this up. I'm sorry, y'all. Just I really wanted to get this out. But um if anything I said resonated, please comment. I would love to have discussions with you guys. Like this content, share it with someone. If you found it entertaining, I'm gonna be doing some more videos later on today, hopefully. Uh, when I have my baby though, because I have shared custody, just so y'all understand, I will typically, if I didn't pre-record something, I probably won't post for a couple of days, just because when I'm with my baby, I try to focus all my time and energy on her, because I don't want her to feel left out or neglected while I'm trying to work and do other things. But I will be posting content regularly. So if you don't see something posted for a few days, it's not that I'm not trying to do stuff for my pages. I'm just focused on being a mom. So with that being said, thank you for tuning into this. I know this was long. If you stayed to the end, you're awesome and I love you. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. It's your girl K Divine. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.